Hey guys, welcome to WDWNT Nerdalert. I'm your host, Joe Hogarty, and joining me tonight is Jack McCarthy.
Morning, folks. Morning. Oh, God, we're already at the start.
We know what time it is.
I don't know what, everything just is blurred right now.
So tonight what we're going to be doing is we're going to be continuing our Marvel DC March Madness, and we're up to round 3. So round 1 was the first 32, round 2 was the next 32, and now we're going to take another 32. Basically, the winners of those rounds are going to compete against each other. And then the following week, we'll do the 16, then the 8, then the 4, then we'll have the final. So we're getting there.
I think got your bowl ready?
Got my bowl ready. It's
all right.
All set. And I did my homework. I did some more research.
Uh-oh.
I tried to see if I could get Superman back in, and I was like, no way. I looked up more stuff on him with the Silver Surfer. It's like, no. And then who was the other one? It was Spider-Man versus...
the Reverse Flash.
Yeah. Couldn't do that one either.
There's no way around him.
And then Wolverine versus Luthor. Yeah, it's less of a problem with his destructibility with the armor that he's wearing, and more has to do with the fact that he's just able to fly and avoid Wolverine. But I think he still might have had a chance of popping his claws in that armor. But yeah,
if he could have gotten close enough.
Yeah, but he'll never get close enough for him. Anyway, so what we're also going to do is we're going to go over the first episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Right now, what we're going to do is Charlie Hunter from Rusted Junk will be joining me this weekend to go over the episode. We're recording this Thursday night, so Jack and I can't talk about it yet since we haven't seen it. But potentially Jack will be joining us too. So we'll see. Possibly. So we'll leave that spot open for him. And we'll see. If not, you got me and Charlie, and we'll kind of go over it. Also, I've seen Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I'm going to give my impressions on that.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, 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 bum.
The wait is over. It's here. The Snyder Cut. What happens when you spend $200 million and then they let you do it all over?
Or even more than $200 million.
I was just a ballpark figure.
And then they gave him like almost another $100 million to do the rest of it.
Trying to do it again. So, all right.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your opinions on it.
Well, you're going to hear it real soon because what I'm going to do right now is we're going to start with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I'm through the magic of editing. I'm going to cut and paste my conversation with Charlie and potentially Jack into this spot. And then I'll give my Zack Snyder Justice League.
Rock on, Joe.
Yeah. That's a good call. I almost called you Taylor. He's very into Wayne's World. And then we'll do the March Madness stuff. Okay, so we are joined by good friend and host of Rusted Junk, Charlie Hunter.
Hello. Nice to be here.
It's great to have you here, Charlie.
Thank you.
And we're going to discuss the first episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Absolutely.
So, what did you think, Charlie?
It was a better first episode than WandaVision, but I don't think that's particularly difficult. It's a difficult achievement.
Yeah.
Overall, I'd give it. I've got to do full disclosure. I'm a massive fan of the Winter Soldier. I just think he's fantastic. I think Falcon's fantastic, but I just think putting these two together, I can't wait till it eventually comes together. But I would say solid start. There was a few things I had a problem with, a few things I had an issue with, but 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
No. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I think.
My WandaVision score was 2 out of 10.
Mine was 0 out of 10.
All right. Yeah.
So I agree with you, Charlie. I really like this episode, and right from the start, it puts WandaVision to shame. That first episode was crap. I don't care what anybody says. I think that they're apologists for WandaVision, but that first episode was terrible. This one, right out of the gate with Falcon, he's just awesome in this. And I think that they're both good. I think the acting is better. I think the production values are better. I think the music is better. Everything is better. I'm not 100% sure where I'm going. I'm a little concerned about some things that we'll get into. But this was fantastic. I mean, I can easily see this. This could have been a movie if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Especially that opening scene was fantastic. That's the best I think that we've ever seen the Falcon in the MCU or anywhere else, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Shaw. I think they're really good actors. And I forget who the name is of his sister. I like his sister too. I think she's very natural.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. What a few hesitations, which again we'll get into.
Yes.
But
yeah.
I give this an 8 out of 10.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I really, really enjoyed it. So I guess we'll get into it. So this
I have questions for you.
Okay. And you know what?
No, and we'll get to them.
I'm going to say one thing. Even though Jack is not here and he's the Encyclopedia McCarthyic when it comes to Marvel, guess what? I'm the guy for this one.
Yes.
Because I collected this series when it was going on. And so I remember this. And, you know, I'll get into it and compare it to the comics. So don't worry. We don't need Jack for this one. But okay, go ahead.
We always need Jack. But
well, it'd be nice, but he's not here.
Okay.
Well,
right, you have me. You have me. Far less encyclopedic knowledge, but willing to learn.
Okay, so what questions do you have?
Well, I guess we're going to skip right to who's the guy at the end?
Oh, that's John Walker.
Okay.
Okay, and here's where my knowledge comes out. Okay. So John Walker was in the comics. And basically, he started as a villain. I think he was called a Super Patriot. And he, you know, fought Captain America. But eventually, he becomes Captain America. Because it's similar what happens is Steve Rogers is basically asked by the government to work for this society that is, let's see, what is it called? The Commission for Superhuman Activities, which is kind of like what happened in Civil War, where they wanted to keep an eye on superhumans. And Steve is, nope, not going to do it. So he resigns as Captain America. So they bring on, you know, the new guy, John Walker, and he's the new Captain America. And at the time, the fans were kind of screaming for Captain America in the 80s when this happened to be more like Rambo, because Rambo had come out and they were really into that.
Right. Okay.
And he was an American hero, but the writers didn't want to disrespect the whole image of Captain America, of Steve Rogers as Captain America. So they created this new character, John Walker, to fit into his shoes, basically. And he's more aggressive. You know, he's kind of like a bit like the Punisher. You know, he kills people, he carries a gun and all that stuff. And he wears it, you know, we'll get into it. I'm jumping ahead of myself. But what happens in issue number 350, which I have in my box, and I love it, and it's an awesome cover. Cap comes back, I guess a couple issues before, and he comes back as the captain, and he's in a black costume now. But, you know, he's got like, you know, red, the flag sort of in his costume. It's really cool. Anything that's black in a costume is pretty cool. Like when Spider-Man went to the black symbiote suit.
Yeah.
And Superman, you know, he wore the black costume. Iron Man, War Machine was black and gray. It just is really cool. So that was pretty damn cool. Like when I saw that, it was like, oh, I like that.
But here's what I don't understand then. How can, you know, Steve Rogers created to be, you know, a super soldier, right? Bucky to a lesser extent. Who can step into the shoes of Captain America? I mean,
John Walker was.
Well, what makes him so special? Why is he super strong? He is.
He was experimented on, where he now has the similar powers to Captain America.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that made sense, and that's what we'll get into when we start talking about.
As I said to you, I defer to your knowledge. If you want like really obscure 80s film knowledge, come to me. So
Yeah.
each to their own.
So what happens is basically Steve Rogers comes back as the captain, dressed in black. He gets a new shield from Black Panther, and they go at it. Both John Walker as Captain America and Steve as the captain. And Steve is victorious, and he takes the mantle over as Captain America. And then John Walker gets Steve's new shield, that Black Panther made for him, and almost the costume too. And he becomes the U.S. agent, who is a superhero in the comics. Not as well known.
Is this what we're going to see then? Do you think this is what we're going to see?
They're messing it up already.
Right.
Okay. But this is the movie I would like to have seen that we're never going to see, because they're substituting Falcon in for Captain America, and I think that would have been much better to see two superhuman soldiers go at it, as opposed to someone that has no powers and can fly. But that's my end of the comic book history on John Walker.
Oh, thank you.
And he's a cool character. I don't know what he's going to be like in this character. We only saw a glimpse of him towards the end, but the suit looks pretty cool. Kind of like it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got to say, right at the start, there was a part of me that was watching. I mean, that is a great start. That's straight into the action, straight into what they've been doing. I'll get to that in a moment, but the action value straight up there. Yeah, I think you said one of the comments that you made on the podcast was, the production values of the last episode of WandaVision were as you would expect, Avengers level film quality style special effects, and I think that's what was happening here.
Yeah.
I think it was. I did predict he would go through the helicopter at the end, because I just thought that's how it's going to happen. But he was brilliant. My concern is, are they trying to position him as the next Iron Man? Because now he can fly, he's got a HUD, he's got armor, I'm just wondering if the parallels are there, even though Cap gave him the shield and said, I'd like you to take the mantle.
Well, I sort of thought of that in a way when he said that he's using Stark technology, which makes sense, because I guess he had gotten his stuff in the MCU from either S.H.I.E.L.D. or the government, his Falcon flying gear or whatever. You would think that Tony would upgrade it, and it would be more advanced. And it is. I mean, does so many friggin' cool things that I can never imagine. And when I used to read the comics, I was a huge fan of the Falcon, and they used to have like some comics would be just Captain America, but when it was Captain America and the Falcon, that's the ones I collected, because you're getting two for the price of one. You're getting two heroes for the price of one.
Yeah.
Now, back then, Falcon was not or Sam. He wasn't a superhero, but he was cool. And instead of like this tech that he had feathers. But it was cool. It was the most flamboyant suit and everything. And he had a Falcon, an actual Falcon, with him on his missions and stuff like that. I loved it, and I thought he was a great character. It's definitely one of my favorite characters in the Marvel comics.
Absolutely.
But I like that they're making him more colorful, like with his suit, because originally it was gray, and now he looks more like the Falcon to me.
Right.
But yeah, the whole Tony Stark tech, I can see what you're getting at. I think they're trying to get everybody to replace Iron Man, like in a way they were trying to do that with Spider-Man, with his suit.
Don't even say that on a podcast, Joe. if we're an Iron Man house, apparently, even though I'm Team Cap, my daughter and Amanda are huge Robert Downey Jr. fans, so they're Team Iron Man. So but nobody can replace Iron Man. I'll speak for Amanda from Rusted Junk. She said that can't be done.
I think that what they're going to do, though, 'cause I think they're having an upcoming series. The one who's going to replace Iron Man is Riri Williams, which I never liked the whole idea of this. It's a 15-year-old black girl is going to replace him in the MCU, potentially. Not a huge fan of that, just because 15 years old is just a little too much.
Yeah.
It's like Spider-Man when he first started. He's still a kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't like when they do that. It's like they're always going for like the kid angle. I know kids read comic books and everything, and that might pump them up more to see someone their own age in their shoes. But I've always been a fan of adult Spider-Man, when he's gotten his stuff together and he's a seasoned veteran of being Spider-Man and not learning how to do things. And the same thing with Iron Man. It's like, this is just basically going to be, how do I use this tech? No one believes in me. And then boom, she saves the world or whatever, or a city. Anyway, let's get back into the show. So
Can I point out one of my annoyances, which is also a positive?
Okay.
That's kind of going to sound strange. Anthony Mackie's a great actor.
Yeah.
I mean, he could, no. The problem is that I think the writers let him down right at the start, because all he kept saying is, I can't take this on. This is too much responsibility. And it's almost like we get that because we saw that at the end of Endgame, where, the initial thing was he didn't feel like he could, take this on. But it almost flogged that in the first bit. And they were like, we understand that this is a big thing for you. And when he donates the shield to the Smithsonian, you're like, well, it's for him, that's kind of like closure. Well, I can't do that. I can't take that. But I think it just repeated it too much, too many times. But Anthony Mackie is a great character, so he pulls it off.
But what I think, I like that he did that. I have respect that he did that, because I think he also knows too, he doesn't have powers to be Captain America. And before, I guess, even John Walker, I could be wrong. Maybe John Walker was first. Bucky became Captain America for a while. And again, the problem is it's kind of like when comic book sales started to go down, they kind of introduced like some kind of exciting storyline to bring the fans back. So they might kill off Captain America and then bring in another character to replace him. But Steve Rogers always comes back, because there's only one Captain America, just like there's only one Batman, there's only one Superman. Even with Spider-Man, they did that. There was a guy called Ben Reilly who was his clone, and they replaced him for a while as Spider-Man. And although people enjoyed it, they wanted Peter Parker back. And same thing. What was the other one too? Was the Spider-Man with Dr. Ock, the Supreme Spider-Man. They loved it, but they were happy when Peter Parker came back. It's like so we got to get Steve Rogers back at some point. He will be back. I don't care what anyone says right now at Marvel Studios. He'll come back I'd say within the next 3 years. I think.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well, my problem that I don't like what they're doing is I think that they're going to, somehow play race against or introduce it. And I don't think it's needed. I don't think it's always needed. It seems like they do that more and more.
Do you think so? I didn't get. I mean, there was one minor annoyance that I had with that. I will get to that later.
With the banker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. You want to talk about that?
Well, I guess because it happens quite a lot, and especially in other areas as well. Once you spot it once, you can't unsee it, and then you're looking for it. So some of the things that you talked about in WandaVision, which is all the people that saved the day and all the people who are the evil people, it kind of pushes them into two camps, and I don't think there's any need for that. A good actor is a good actor, regardless of that. But they made the bank manager out to be a sort of caricature of himself. It was just it was painful because, you know, he asked for the selfie. He took the selfie, and then he was gushing and he was saying, it answered one of our questions, by the way, on how superheroes make money. And I know you talked on one of your podcasts about Superman and Lois, and them going, well, we don't have the money to afford the farm, and you're like, you're Superman, you know, like, can't you get these things? And it was good to see that context, where he said, isn't there some sort of fund that superheroes can take from? You know, and he says, well, yeah, people are very generous and people can put into that sort of thing, but no, there isn't the sort of thing. Hence why I'm here. And then instead of making it a very empathetic scene, whereby you're like, yeah, where are you getting the money? You've got government contracts, but that's not enough for you to get this. It's not enough to satisfy the deal on developing the boat, which is what they want to do. But it's almost like, yeah. Let's stop this in its tracks. Yeah, is there any chance I can have a selfie of you with your arms out? And I went, wait a minute, where's that going? We've already sorted. You know, he's like, I'm a big fan. But then they just had to make him out to be the bad guy, and it just seemed unnatural. It just seemed like, why did you do that? It didn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense because he knew he wasn't going to get him the loan as it was. And it just kind of like paints him as a bad person. Like, but who would do that? I mean, what type of banker would even do something like that? Almost like rubbing it in your face. It's like, well, it's too bad you can't get a loan. I think that they could have played him better, you know, saying, look, I'm really a fan of you and I'm really sorry. And I would like to give you a loan. I'll try my best, but I don't know if I can. You know, it's just unfortunate that the way the banking rules work. Like he could have blamed something like that, but
right.
But my issue with all this, though, is to me the biggest villain is Tony Stark. He should have created some sort of fund for all of them. You know, like put money aside for everyone he was working with. What about Pepper Potts? You know, he can't go to Pepper Potts. She has to have billions of dollars, not a billion, billions of dollars.
Right.
And I find it hard to believe that Sam has been doing all this Avenger work out of the kindness of his heart. I don't think any of them have. They have to have gotten paid somehow.
Falcon was getting government contracts.
What's that?
Which he tried to put down as collateral and say, look, I do government contracts.
Like even that last thing that he did recently by saving that military soldier and all that stuff. It's not like he made $600 off of that gig. I mean, I'm sure he made a lot of money off of that.
Yeah.
But I think that I think it's insane to think that they really weren't being compensated for their work, especially since they say they brought back the people after the snap and then they saved the whole universe. So not only might they get money from the government, the people of this country, some rich benefactors or something like that were happy with their work, but probably aliens too, because they saved them too, you know? So I find it very hard to believe that he's piss poor broke,
right.
You know, or if it is, it's just a stupid system. And again, I blame more Tony Stark, knowing that he had all that money. It's the same thing. I had the same problem. I know it's stupid. It's comics, but Peter Parker is living in a crap hole apartment in Queens. And look what all the stuff that kid did for him. And he's kind of like his protege. Why not set him and Aunt May up? And they did do that in the comics, but they didn't do it in the MCU. It's like, yeah, you're fine. You know, I don't think I could be wrong, but he could have given them like, well, here's $500,000. You're a good guy. You know,
and there was a line after that. So they had all the food in the back of the truck. And when they went from the bank and been refused the loan, I think his sister says something like, you know, people like that all think the same way. And I didn't know what that reference was. And, you know, it's probably not best to pursue it. Here,
well, no, it could be
a bit of.
No, it could be due to the fact that during the snap and all that stuff, when people were missing, and then when people came back, people had different feelings about, it's weird because I was thinking about the snap, like how Thanos said that what it would do is it would create an abundance of food for people. People would never be hungry again and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But then later on, I heard the Russo brothers saying that the snap also affected animals, fish, vegetation. So wouldn't that be taking away 50% of the food too?
Yeah.
So that never made any sense. But yeah, we don't know the economics of what happened during the snap. It didn't look too nice when you got to Endgame, and it looked like most of like where Ant-Man was walking, his whole area looked like it was a crap hole.
So
Yeah.
so the fund is for everybody that took part in that final battle in Endgame. So Doctor Strange doesn't need money. Thor doesn't need money. Howard the Duck definitely needs money. So he you know, all he does is plays guitar and gigs and stuff. So
it's duck food, right, or bird seed or something.
he was still part of the effort. He still needs to be
Yeah,
compensated.
Charlie's a big
Massive.
I was gonna call him Charlie the Duck.
I'll have that.
You could be his English cousin.
Oh, Amanda on the podcast keeps pushing the Howard the Duck episode, but it's coming. It's coming.
Oh, she's pushing it away.
She's pushing it away. She really doesn't want to watch the film.
No, I want to hear it though, because I think it should be amusing.
Anyway, that's my only Howard the Duck reference. But he is part of the battle in Endgame, so he does need to be compensated.
So I wanted to bring in the race angle because what happened was I read this from Anthony Mackie, and he was interviewed, and he said that Wilson is questioning how a black man can represent a country that doesn't represent him. So that's why I think that they might be bringing in the race angle, and I just don't think it's needed.
No.
You know, I know that the writers might feel that way, but I don't think everybody, you know, they want to see an enjoyable superhero show. They don't want to be taught lessons on social justice or whatever, you know. I mean, sometimes you just want to turn your mind off and enjoy TV action, or you want to watch a football game or baseball game or something like that. You just want to enjoy it. You know, you don't want to have to deal with stuff like that. And I kind of wish that they weren't going that angle, but if he said it, it sounds like that's what they're doing. And again, I think it would have been a better movie with Captain America. Although, not that it's similar to the Winter Soldier, because like they're both two, you know, similar powered characters going against each other, but it might have been a little too much, you know. But we'll see. I guess. Well, let's get to Bucky. So, what'd you think about Bucky?
Oh, of course, he's brilliant.
He was great.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he is. He's been a favorite of mine right from the start. Captain America, the Winter Soldier, is one of my favorite top 3 Marvel films.
Really?
Yeah. I love it. I think the introduction. Always a bit of a sucker for Robert Redford as well. So Robert Redford appears in that. It's a Cold War drama. Oh, not Cold War. Sorry, like a spy thriller, like Day of the Condor type thing.
Kind of like, I could see you saying that.
Loved it. And we're now at that. We're just about to start it because we're at that period. We're showing Amy all the Marvel films, and we're up to Captain America: Winter Soldier. So yay! But from a Bucky point of view, I just think the introduction of his character is he realizes he's got all of these, skeletons in his closet, all these things that he's done, all the things that he had no control over, and I just think he played a fantastic part. The therapy bit I thought was good, especially when he's reading out the list of things 1, 2, 3, and 4. I loved that. I just think he's great. And I know I might be just fast forwarding slightly, but I loved the date scene that he had with the restaurant. I just thought that was perfectly played. Unfortunately, I didn't come armed with who the actress was who was playing the presumably the owner of the restaurant. I don't know, but she was brilliant.
She was good.
She was very good, and
they were all good. I can't say anything bad about anybody in this episode.
No, absolutely not. But she kind of like stood out because it was almost like, where is this going? It's not just action, a bit of exposition, a bit of drama, action, action, bit of drama. It was so well played in the flow of things, that I just that date scene was just perfect to put in there, because obviously he realizes that he's got to at some point atone for this particular sin that he's been thinking about. But yeah, Sebastian Stan, what an actor.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great, and I felt really sad for him because he seems like such a nice guy now. Like he seems more, what's the word? Humane, like, like having the relationship with the older Asian man and trying to
Yeah,
break up the fight and everything. You could see like he really cares for the guy, and you didn't know why he cared for him, but later
no,
on you found out about his son. But it's sad because he's still haunted by his memories of his assassinations and that he killed innocent people too.
yeah,
Um, and you definitely feel for him for that. And it reminds me again like of Iron Man and the loss of his parents and that conflict. Um, but
yeah. I mean, if memory serves me correctly, when he finds out in Captain America: Civil War, um, that's just a bigger moment for him as it is for Tony Stark, because he's like, yeah, was me. It's his, the fact that he doesn't wasn't in control and doesn't remember doesn't make it any less damaging for him. It doesn't make any more, disturbing for him. But
and I think Iron Man says to him, he goes, "Do you remember it?" And he says, "I remember all of it." So again, he was under someone's control.
yeah,
Um, but for some reason, like I thought that that's what the Black Panther and Wakanda were doing, that they were working to kind of remove those memories or
hmm.
help him deal with, because he said that he didn't want to be awakened until he was back to normal or
Right,
rid of his programming and stuff like that.
yeah,
But it's unfortunate again that he's got to deal with that. That's really got to suck. But I will say, there was a couple things I thought was cool, that he was wearing gloves, because I was thinking, it's like, yeah, if I was on a date and I had a robotic arm, I think I'd hide it for the longest time until I was ready to show her. And I liked that they were playing Battleship with shots.
that's genius. Writers, that's genius. I love
I never
that.
even thought about that, but that's got to be a fun way to play
Why
Battleship.
why are you looking at me like that? I'm trying to read your mind. And then she gets a hit and he misses. That's brilliant.
Yeah, no, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. You think we're going to see any more of that Asian man? Did he basically just write him off of his list?
What, the guy that he's looking after? Or the
Yeah,
guy that Yeah, I think it's got to come into play. Um Whether or not that's supposed to be a throwaway, he'll never go back to the sushi restaurant. He'll never talk to the old man again.
I think that that's the case because they got to meet up.
Who?
Falcon and Falcon and
Well,
the Winter
yeah,
Soldier.
yeah. But as opposed to, he's got to confess at some point. I know he bottled it when he went to, knock on the old man's door after his date,
You
which
know,
I
I
assume must have been about 11:30 at night.
I thought he was going to kill him and put him out of his misery.
All right. Okay.
I'm glad he
No.
didn't,
He's
though.
atoning for his past, Joe. He's atoning for his past. You can't tell his therapist that.
Yeah, but I think at some point he probably, because we'd seen in the trailers that both the Falcon and him end up going to that therapist. So who knows? Maybe they will. Maybe the Falcon will come towards him. I don't know. We'll see.
Absolutely. But who in the world don't getting back to your point where he wears the glove and tries to hide the arm. Who in the world doesn't know who the Winter Soldier is? The snap brings everybody back. Okay, there are complications we've seen in other areas where we've seen in from the One Division point of view. We've seen it from the Spider-Man Far From Home intro where everybody comes back, and the effects of the snap. But who doesn't know who these people are?
I don't know, because again, you got to realize 5 years have passed, and he was gone, and a lot of people were gone. The people that knew him at the time, like the public, probably have forgotten him. And I'm sure that it's not on record of every single superhero that saved the world to the public. So it's possible he can blend in. He's a little more clean shaven. He's got shorter hair. So I could see people.
But if that had happened in real life, they'd have made countless Netflix specials introducing you to each character and the role that they played, and
Yeah,
and
but
they would be everywhere.
you never know what happened with technology after the blip.
Okay.
Again, because it looks, some places look pretty desolate. So maybe half the technology was taken away too.
Well,
maybe we just have Amazon Prime and Netflix got zapped away, which I wouldn't mind.
Amazon Prime doesn't make as good a series.
No, they don't. But I mean, I haven't have Netflix. It's just too expensive now. But it's so funny. They keep cornering me like an ex-girlfriend every week. And I never turn off the emails because they're so funny. It's like, Joe, we miss you. Why haven't you come back? It's like, you can start at $8.99 and we can get our relationship going again. And then they're like, Joe, did you know you just missed this program? Didn't you like something like this before? Why are you waiting? And I get a kick reading these emails. Anyway, I'm like going off on a tangent here.
But these are questions. These are questions to be raised. I know they're not like, oh well, let's make some trivia out of it and let's just explore that. These are real world questions. Why are these people broke? Why are these people aren't being mobbed when they're walking down the street? Why isn't he, when he goes to the fish market, it's going, whoa, 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 it's Falcon, and everyone starts coming, around. It would happen with Tony Stark. It would happen with Thor. It would happen with the others. And you kind of like, and why wouldn't it happen with the Falcon?
No, you make a good point, because if now there's 50% more people in the world, you would think that there were 50% more hungrier people, and that they would need more fishermen out there.
Yes. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the plan is to change it into a charter boat when it can't be used, when it can't go out fishing. Great idea, fantastic. But yeah, again, it's the Lois and Superman thing. You're Superman, you're the Falcon, you're the Winter Soldier. Why haven't you got money?
Yeah, I'm sure he could fly somewhere too and find a pot of gold.
Absolutely.
Instead of having to go in the water. But yeah, I think this whole thing again could have been resolved if he just knocked on Pepper Potts' door and just said, look, I really could use the money. I'll pay you back. And then she's like, don't worry about it. Because it's probably like giving him like $100,000 is like giving somebody $5, for her. So,
but let's just say that everybody that came back from the blip and is thankful to all the people that did something, all donated $1. That's enough for them all.
Oh yeah, and plus I think that banks would have a regulation, kind of like where people that saved everybody from the destruction of the universe, they don't have to pay for coffee, they don't have to pay for meals, they don't have to pay taxes. I think that they would get a break. Like he's just got to show a card. Yes. I was at that battle and killed Thanos. But they're making him like, well, where were you for 5 years? You were like gone. So it's like, that's not my problem.
Yeah, well, it should be a big piggy bank where everyone puts $1 in.
Anyway, who I was pissed that was in this episode?
Go on.
War Machine. I can't stand that.
Yes. Yeah, well.
It's like, you got to put him in there. Why didn't he ask him for money?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got a lot of money. I'm sure Tony left him some money in his will.
Oh, I would have thought so, yeah. Yeah, you would think so.
I don't know. I just don't like that guy. Every time I look at him, I just think he's too old to be War Machine. He's too thin. His head's too big. I just don't like. Again, I'm a huge fan. I was a huge fan of War Machine in the comics, and it's just so opposite. It's like if you cast Pee Wee Herman to play Clark Kent and Superman. That's kind of like how I see it with War Machine.
Well, I'm not a fan of Don Cheadle, and I'm not a fan of Don Cheadle because of the appalling, and I do mean appalling, accent in Ocean's 11. That's dreadful.
I never seen that because George Clooney was in it.
and you know what? If you want to upset a nation that quickly, then you just get an accent like that, and every English person goes, oh, sorry, every British person goes, what? what's that? So yeah, I never forgave him for that. So pretty much, my War Machine, my roadie will always be the original in Iron
Me
Man.
too. Yeah, Terrence Howard.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah, he would have been so good.
He's an incredible actor. He's got incredible presence. He knows exactly how to play the character. Can you imagine what it would be like if he was allowed to continue and he became?
Oh yeah, and I think he would have gotten shape too. You know, like Chris Evans and all them.
Yeah.
The perfect War Machine would have been Idris Elba, because he's got to be big. He's got to, be a good-looking guy. He's got to be useful. Yeah, they just messed that up. But yeah.
Well, at least you have a proper British accent. Which is
he shouldn't have a British accent as Sam Wilson. But I'm sure you guys do a good job. Let's hear your American accent.
We can retcon it back in, so we could put Idris Elba in Ocean's 11, and then make it all work somehow.
No, I was going to say, can you do an American accent?
No.
All right.
I could
do a British accent.
Go on.
Stippin' time. That's my Dick Van Dyke Cockney accent from Mary Poppins.
I didn't recognize any of that.
Yeah, it's like if you didn't have the screen on, you would think Dick Van Dyke was here, right?
Well, yes. Anyway, let's move on. I thought I was going to do an American accent there, but I can't follow that.
All right.
Mine would just be from New York, and it'd be, hey, forget about it. Oh,
that's pretty good. I thought Joe Pesci was there for a second.
Wow.
Oh man. So this group, the Flag Smashers, do you think somebody that we know is behind this group?
Don't know. It's certainly intriguing. I assume he was in military intelligence, the guy that the Falcon was working with on the ground at the start, that he talks to in the coffee shop and says,
Joaquin.
We've got these things. I thought he was dead. I mean,
Me too.
They've killed him off pretty quickly there.
And I thought he was a traitor too,
oh, right. Okay. I didn't get.
Well, no, when he put on the mask and all that stuff, I didn't think he was going covert with them.
Right.
But Dan had a good idea. He had mentioned this to me, that maybe it's John Walker is the head of the Flag Smashers, because that guy that took out Joaquin, he was super powered.
Oh, yeah. I suppose so. That would make some sense. Yeah, I'd love to see where that goes. That I don't know. Obviously, there's to be some backstory from a comic book type approach, whereby, because we're not following the comic books, we're having to play the sort of guessing game. But yeah, I just from a whole episode point of view, I am so looking forward to next week's episode, just to see where this goes. And we've only got 6 episodes,
which is good.
WandaVision's 9. So maybe when you piece them all together, it'll still be shorter than Zack Snyder's cut. And it'll just make one big Falcon and Winter Soldier film.
It might be, because they say an hour, but these credits are always so damn long. They're like about 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
So it could be. You could be right. Yeah, but I think it's off to a good start.
Definitely.
All right. So I guess that's it.
Yeah,
Don't you have anything else?
No. I just think we've covered everything. It's a good time to be a Marvel fan. Probably not as good a time to be a Star Wars fan with what's going on over in the Star Wars universe at the moment. But I do think that Cassian Andor will ride to the rescue on that.
I hope so.
I'm a big believer in that. He's a great character, a wonderful character. But yeah, let's see where this goes.
You want to give yourself a plug?
Oh, plug for the podcast. Well, yeah. So the podcast, I've been on this before, but for new listeners, my podcast, or our podcast, sorry, between myself and Amanda, my partner, we look at forgotten 80s films. So we look at Howard the Duck, which we will do, but also things like Iron Eagle, but Ferris Bueller. I think the definition of forgotten movie has been stretched for a while. So we just do what we feel like it. But in a complete turnaround, I was joined by a friend, a very good friend of mine, Dom, who joined me to do horror because Amanda said I'm not doing any horror films of the 80s. So he joined me to do Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'm really looking forward to that one.
Well, you might not be when you hear my score, but anyway. But yes, we're about to finish season 3. So season 3 has been action. We're about to finish it with Midnight Run, and then we get into all of the good stuff. The reason why I started the idea for the podcast and the website in the first place.
All right, great. That sounds awesome.
That's good.
Thanks again, Charlie.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Pleasure. Always a pleasure, Joe.
All right, so we now return you to our regularly scheduled program. All right, so the Zack Snyder cut. Saw that today. It was 4 hours and 2 minutes long.
Is it 4 hours and 2 minutes that you'll never get back? Was it
Yeah.
well spent?
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to start off with a good thing. I think if you're like really into DC, you're going to like it. I think it's for me, it's a slight improvement over the Whedon-Snyder hybrid that they did. But my biggest problem with the movie is it's just too damn long at 4 hours.
That's a lot to sit through.
It is. And I think that the problem was with Warner Brothers. He had done Man of Steel, Zack Snyder, and then he did Batman v Superman. And Batman v Superman, they were hoping to make a lot more money than what it actually did. So they were a little disappointed. And then he came out with his Justice League. And I don't know if it was close to 4 hours, but he had filmed 4. They wanted to, and they originally were going to split into 2 parts, if you remember. There was going to be part 1 and part 2, and part 2 would come out next summer or whenever it was coming out.
Yeah, but part 2 always assumes part 1 is going to make money.
Yeah. So that's part of the problem, is that part 1 of this, like say it's a 4-hour movie, things don't really start to get going until about 2 hours and 40 minutes into the movie.
That long?
Yeah. Because that's when Superman shows up. So what you have in the beginning is you get to see the Themyscirians against Steppenwolf, which is pretty cool. It looks a little better. It's definitely a little cooler, a little more action packed. You also get to see more.
You see, that was one of the few parts of Justice League that I really liked.
Me too.
The whole part with Themyscira was just, the Amazons are cool.
No, they are.
Really
They are. What else do you see in that? You see more of Cyborg. You kind of see his origin. You see him playing football, him getting in the car accident. Oh, by the way, I'm doing spoilers. Hopefully you've seen it by now, because this will be released on Tuesday, our video. And you see basically his origin. You see the Flash, not his origin, but you see him saving Iris. And but I gotta say, with all that stuff, Cyborg and the Flash, I can understand why they cut it out. Because if you're Warner Brothers, you want to release a movie. You don't want to release a 3-hour movie because you're going to get less showings in the theater. You want to release something that's 2 hours, so that you're going to profit off of multiple showings. So that's why most movies or production companies go for the 2-hour length, just so they can make bucks. And I think that that's something that Ray Fisher maybe didn't understand, or he felt insulted by the fact that they cut out most of his stuff, because they cut out a ton of his stuff. I would say he's probably got an extra hour worth of stuff in this movie. So I couldn't understand him being mad, especially you were hired by Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder was very nice to you and said, oh yeah, we're going to center most of the movie around you. And then all of a sudden, we don't know if he was really fired or if he just stopped doing it because unfortunately his daughter committed suicide. But all of a sudden he's gone, and now Joss Whedon comes in, and he's got to be the boss from hell. It's like they say, right, we want 2 hours of this movie, you got to cut out stuff. And he's like, all right, who's this cyborg? We don't need him. Flash, we'll cut his stuff down too. Aquaman, yeah, but we're keeping in Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. And that's basically what he did. And I can understand why he did that and why Warner Brothers did that. But I will say,
three.
Yeah, if I was Ray Fisher, I'd be upset, that they cut out so much of my stuff. But that's show business,
You
it's
still got paid.
Yeah, at least he was in the movie. He should have been happy about that. It's nice that there is a Snyder cut and you get to see more of him in it, and a little bit more Aquaman, a little bit more Flash.
4 hours. Oof.
Yeah, it's rough. What else do they show in the first 2 hours? Oh, they show that stuff with the Nightcrawler. You know what the Nightcrawler was? That's like when they go and rescue the scientists from Steppenwolf.
Oh, that's the big fight in the sewer or something?
Yeah, and then Batman has this thing called a Nightcrawler. So they show more of that, and it's different. I think everything, all the action scenes that Zack Snyder did are better than what Joss Whedon had done. The problem, though, is that he sucks at drama. He's just, I will say one good thing that came out of this movie is he gets Batman right. He completely changed how Batman was perceived in this movie. No more comic Batman. He was just serious Batman. And for me, that was my favorite character. And I know I rag on Ben Affleck and all that stuff, but you saw Justice League. Didn't you think that he was one of the weaker characters?
No, I don't think he was the weakest, but you're right with the Batman. I didn't say I didn't like you. There were some parts of it. You have a lot more hate for Ben Affleck as Batman than I do.
He's starting to grow on me, though. I mean, especially with this movie. I like I said, I think he did the best performance out of everybody with Bruce Wayne, Batman. It just was totally different.
Now it's totally different from what we saw in the Whedon cut.
I would say so. He looked cooler. He had better entrances. All of his jokes were gone. There might have been a couple, but it was as Bruce Wayne. He just was serious, and I just liked it. I thought that he did a good job with that.
Well, that's Batman. He could make jokes when he's Bruce Wayne because he's supposed to be, charming. But as Batman, he's supposed to be dead serious all the time.
Oh, yeah.
That's just the way he is in the comics.
Zack Snyder should do a Batman movie, period. Just let him do that. Nothing, no Superman movies or anything. Because let's take that. Superman, he messed him up again. That's where Joss Whedon shined, is with Superman. He got the lighthearted Superman. He got the happy to be alive Superman, wanting to help people in danger, thinking of people first before thinking of the mission.
Why, we have emo Superman again?
Yeah, we kind of have a bit of emo Superman again. You've seen in the trailer, he's got his black suit on. Doesn't make any sense for him to wear it. Like at one point they go into that Kryptonian ship and he's got multiple suits available to him, which was kind of cool. I could have sworn they had Michael Turner's Godfall suit in there. And I was like, oh boy. I think they did. I haven't looked at on the internet to confirm or deny that, but I love that suit. It's the gray metallic suit with the red cape. Do you remember that one? Godfall, Michael Turner. No, I'll put a picture up. I'm going to put a picture up.
All right, put a picture up.
But he ended up choosing the black suit. They don't say why. And
the whole thing?
No. For the whole thing. The whole movie he wore black.
So we don't see the red and blue at all?
No.
Really?
Remember
choice.
It's very odd because you remember at the very end of the movie where we see Clark, he's in Metropolis and he's got his glasses on and a trench coat, and then he pulls open his chest. It's still black. It's silver S and the black. Why? I don't get it. at least he would have changed back then. So he meets up with Alfred. They put this scene in there where you first see him in his black suit. And I'm like, why? He goes to Alfred. He didn't need to. I think Zack Snyder was basically throwing us the kitchen sink and everything, because that scene was definitely not needed. He could have said, would have made this a little better if he would have said, this is a Kryptonian healing suit, and that I need it to help with my powers coming back and all that.
But if it's a Kryptonian healing suit, why does he need the S? Because if it was a Kryptonian healing suit, wouldn't it just be like a standard first aid outfit or something?
It belonged to the L's, and that was their symbol. That was in the comics. He wore the black suit with the S on there in the comics. Was it the Reign of the Superman?
Yeah, when the Reign of Superman came to the end. I guess I don't. Okay, go on. I didn't see the movie, so.
But what was weird now that I'm thinking about it? I'm confused. Didn't that ship get destroyed? Oh, no, it didn't get destroyed. It just got ripped apart in Man of Steel. But that was
crashed, but it's sitting there. But is it his ship?
No, that's like somebody that came like 20,000 years ago or something like that. So why do they have his suits in there? Am I right?
No.
Unless computer Jor-El somehow sewed them before he came. I don't know. Or when he.
Well, he does have all those robots.
Yeah.
The reason that ship lasted was because those robots are going around maintaining them. Who knows? Maybe the Jor-El AI had some control over them to say, you know what?
It had to be quick, because he just put that S in there. Like in that when he went into the ice, popped the S in there, and then Jor-El pops up and basically tells him to follow him, and then all of a sudden he's got a suit. So they must have been fast sewers. Anyway,
replicated, a little bit of Star Trek thrown in.
There's a lot of, you have to suspend disbelief in this movie if you want to enjoy it. Well, for most movies, it's like that. I'm very nitpicky.
Suspend a lot of belief in these movies, all of them.
Yeah. What else? Who else? Wonder Woman. She's basically the same. There's a couple of more scenes with her in it. Aquaman. I just don't get Aquaman at all. That's just, I have a question for you. Why is Aquaman so powerful if he's a breed between the Atlanteans and humans? Wouldn't that make him less powerful?
Well, all Atlanteans, to survive being in the depths of the ocean, have to be much tougher than humans anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe it's sort of like Marvel tried to do with Namor, how he's a mutant because of the mixed species or something. Don't know. I don't recall Aquaman ever having a moment like, finding, the magic ring or drinking a super serum soldier. He was just always Aquaman. Same way Superman has always been Superman. I don't remember there ever being a power-up moment for Aquaman. He just was born that way, the Lady Gaga bit.
That's horrible, Jack.
Well, that's how DC, a lot of it they just avoid.
No, I'm saying you're singing, not your theory. That's a little better. At least I can recognize that. But I think in the movie, I only saw the movie once, Aquaman, didn't he have the trident that kind of helped him get a little more powerful?
Well, the trident, Poseidon's trident gives him control over the water, control over the tides and all that. That doesn't make him stronger. But the reason they all want it is because that gives you control over the oceans.
Oh,
it doesn't make you stronger. Like, I guess it lets you control sea creatures a little bit better, lets you create tidal waves if you need to, so it's usually powerful, but it doesn't make the wielder super powerful.
Reluctantly,
as far as I know.
I should watch that movie again.
You could.
Yeah, it's on HBO.
And this isn't a case of you would watch it again to see how much you hate it more.
No, I might. A lot of times I'll watch a movie a second time and I'll like it more than I did the first time.
Yeah, but a lot of times you watch it to see. First viewing, you hate it.
Yeah, it's like
the second viewing is
I really hate
quantifying how much you hate it.
Yep.
And you're a movie maker's dream, Joe.
I am.
Here it is. Jack liked the movie. He went and saw it once, but who cares about him? Let's go for Joe, who hates everything, and he's going to go see this movie 3 or 4 times just to find everything I did wrong in it, which is fine because he's paying admission.
Well, one thing I wanted to say, I kind of jumped really quick into the movie and stuff like that. When I first saw the movie in theaters, I liked it. And I kept texting Eric. We were going back and forth because we were both seeing it at the same time in different states. And at the end of the movie, I gave it a 9. He gave it a 9.5, Justice League.
I don't think I even saw it in the theaters.
Well, I did. But part of it was they finally got Superman right, for me anyway, with this whole DCEU. He wasn't Christopher Reeve, but he was kind of like the Superman that I was missing in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. And I think that those are my rose-colored glasses, my Kryptonian-colored glasses. And but when I saw it, when I purchased it, and I saw it at home, it went down. Like I gave it a 7. I think that reviewers, and I'm pretty sure reviews have come out already. They're not going to like this movie because it's a 4-hour movie. It's not Gone with the Wind. It goes at a snail's pace. And you really, if you're going to enjoy this, you have to be a real DC fan because there's a lot of stuff in there for you. And it's, it's tough because there's a lot of good in this, but there's a lot of unneeded stuff in this. But there's also a lot of good stuff in Whedon's version too. There were some things that were missing. I wish they would have included, like that whole Pet Cemetery thing.
I don't remember. What was the Pet Cemetery?
Oh, well, they were talking about if they brought Superman back to life, they wouldn't know if he would be the same person or if he would be evil. And then Flash says like Pet Cemetery. And then when they see Superman, he starts freaking out. And he's like, just like Pet Cemetery, I thought that was a funny line.
Did they leave it in?
No, they cut it out because Whedon had done that. They cut out the Superman and the Flash race at the end.
Now you see those were the parts. If I had Justice League that I owned it, I would be skipping to for me, the first start of it would be the fight with on Themyscira. Then I would jump to the resurrection of Superman. And then I'd probably just go to the end fight scene when, Superman shows up. I'm a fan of Truth and Justice,
That's
and to
gone.
the end, including the end screens. Huh?
That's gone.
Well, like I said, those are the parts I enjoyed of the movie the most. The other stuff, I would have skipped.
Well, my favorite part in the original, and it's still here, is when Superman is revived and he fights the Justice League. It's expanded in this one. It's a little longer and all that, which is pretty cool.
I love that scene when the Flash thinks he's running and he looks over and sees Superman turning his head towards him. Like that's a great scene.
Yeah, that's a great scene. But they kind of wrecked it a little bit in this because the music in Justice League really fit well in it. But in the Zack Snyder cut, it's very low and it's almost like focusing on the visuals and it's not as funny. It's weird. Speaking of visuals, and I had discussed this before, he filmed this in IMAX aspect ratio. So it's like almost 4:3. So there's
you had said that was supposed to be filmed like that.
It's awful. Absolutely awful. So it's actually, you're not losing any picture on the sides, right? What he's doing, he's giving you pictures on the top and the bottom. So you have no black bars on the top and the bottom, but you have black bars on the side, and it's very noticeable. I just think it's a stupid artistic decision, because most people, if not all people, have widescreen TVs now, and they don't want to see black bars on the sides. And this is never going to see the light of day on an IMAX screen. Maybe if there's another fan initiated release it on an IMAX or something like that, but I doubt it. It's just it's very distracting. I didn't like it at all. And again, if you're watching this in 4K, you want to see all the detail on the screen, you know? Your audio cut out.
Sorry, there's something going on in the kitchen that I don't want to bleed over. Now, because he's filmed it in that ratio, does the action fill the screen?
No, it doesn't.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, you might have a fight scene going on about here. Is the rest of this just like open space?
No, the top and the bottom, it reaches the top and the bottom. It's like if you're watching Andy Griffith on TV and you have black bars on the side.
Right.
That's what it looks like. Except it's worse.
I'm saying, since he filmed it for IMAX with such a huge screen, is his cinematography put things focused on different parts of the screen?
No,
or is it always just
what it is it's actually it's widescreen, but it's top heavy, so you're not missing anything on the sides. But what he's giving us extra vertical, you know. But more people, you know, he could have just given us 16:9 and we'd all be happy, you know.
Were you getting just big giant heads?
Yeah, you might see it, you might not. Okay. I don't know if you're gonna watch it. But yeah, I could see
when it comes on TNT or TBS, probably.
Maybe. But yeah, I could see reviewers not liking it, and I've seen a lot of reviewers don't like it because it's basically, you know, the big problem with this movie is it's basically the same story as before, and that was part of the problem, is that Stephen Wolk he doesn't work as a villain. The characters themselves, they don't have any chemistry whatsoever.
Well, that's not Zack Snyder's thing. He's for the big action sequences, and like you said, the fight scenes and everything.
That's where he works. Great.
It's the characterization bits that he has trouble with. That could be why I thought Watchmen was kind of a weak film. I didn't like that. Enjoy it at all.
I like Watchmen. I like 300.
But 300 is nonstop action from the setup all the way through to the end. There isn't really much characterization, you know.
Oh yeah,
because it's just these crazy Spartans going nuts on every kind of monstrosity you could think of that would be coming from Xerxes. You know, here come rhinos, here come elephants, here come whatever. You know, that's 300. That's all about the fight scene, and that's why it's a great fun movie, because it doesn't pretend to be anything else. But like you said, with these characters, yeah, you kind of want to see some interaction between Batman, Superman, you know, Flash and Cyborg. You want to see that kind of interaction, and that's not his strong point at all.
Well, it all stems with Warner Brothers, with their decision. They saw Marvel was doing great with their MCU, especially with Avengers, and they were like, we got more popular characters than the Avengers, and we own all our characters. So it's like, let's just jump right to Justice League. I mean, they did Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and all that stuff, but they should have went the path that Marvel had done by giving each character their own movie first, instead of just rushing. Yeah, I think so.
I don't think they'd even have to do that. By building in those character moments, you should get enough of the information about who these characters are and what they're about. So you don't need the individual setup for each movie. Marvel did it, and Marvel did a great job with it, but you don't need to do that. It's just, what do you have to do? You have to have a good, solid script showing the character interactions to be like, hey, why would these guys want to hang out together and fight this menace. You know, aside from we have to save the world, you need those character moments in there to build the camaraderie up between the team. That's not Snyder's strong point. It's not.
No, it's not.
You know, the moment of Aquaman flying through the air, landing on the Batmobile, you know, and Bruce says, "I'll get you there," and you know, he goes, "All right, brother." You know, we
That's
might have
left
all
in there.
groaned, huh?
That's left in there.
Okay, we all might have groaned at that, but there should have been some build up through dialogue where it's like, okay, you know, Aquaman considers, you know, Batman friendly enough to talk to him that way. You know, there should have been something a little bit more. The closest it got, I thought, was when, and I don't know if this was Whedon or Snyder, when Wonder Woman's lasso was on Aquaman.
They cut that out. That was Whedon.
Really? That was Whedon? Because, like I said, that's a character interaction moment where here it is, you know, Aquaman has laid it all on the table here, unbeknownst he's under a magical influence of the lasso, you know, and all the other characters like, yeah, okay, man, all right, you know, keep going, and letting them spill. That's a character team building moment. And like I said, it makes sense that was Whedon and not Snyder.
Yeah, I think Snyder needs a secondary director to help with the drama because he's just not very good at it. I will say there was more stuff with Lois I actually liked.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not an Amy Adams' Lois Lane fan.
No, I'm not. But what she would do is she would visit Superman's memorial that was in Metropolis like every morning.
Okay.
And she would bring the cops coffee, you know, and they would say, "Oh, hi, Lois. It's good to see you," you know, and all that. And that was kind of cool. And you know what's kind of cool too? When you first start watching this movie, it's like you've never seen any of this before. It's almost like a brand new movie because there's different camera angles, there's a little different storylines, and it's kind of cool because you have two Justice League movies that you can choose from now, and they're almost completely different. I would say the thing that is mostly the same is the Superman fight against the Justice League. And maybe that part with the Nightcrawler. But the Themyscira part, remember that part when they were talking about the past when Darkseid first had came and the Atlanteans and the Themyscirans and the Lanterns.
And they all teamed up.
That was pretty cool. They expanded on that. And you saw, you know, actual Green Lanterns flying around using their rings. You saw Ares was kind of like Hercules, you know, almost. He was like their version of Superman. And
so Ares was fighting on the side of the good guys?
Yeah. This was before the Themyscirans went off on their own. I think that they were actually part, you know, of, what would you call it? Would it be the human race or whatever?
I thought they were always at war with.
No, because no, at one point they were all together, and then they were so mistreated by men that they went off and they formed their own little paradise island.
Okay.
But that was cool, and Darkseid actually shows up. Darkseid looks horrible. All the CGI looks like crap. Darkseid.
They didn't fix that. I mean, I thought they fixed Steppenwolf.
They did, but he still looks like crap to me.
Did they make him like spiky or something?
They did. He kind of looks like the Destroyer in Thor. Was that what it was called?
Okay, yeah.
But he's got a face kind of like Doomsday. You know, it just doesn't look nothing like Thanos. Thanos looks like a real character.
Well, that's because of the way he was. I mean, they had Brolin like in the suit with all the dots and everything, so you could get expressions.
Motion capture. Yeah.
I think so, but I don't think Steppenwolf, I think, was completely CGI.
I think he was too, yeah.
That it wasn't here a guy doing the movements. It was like, okay, well, this is how he would move if he was a person. And something gets lost in that. What do they call it? The valley.
Oh, the uncanny valley.
Yeah, that's where something gets lost. Sometimes you need that actual motion of
Yeah, no, I
a person
agree.
to model the CGI image.
Yeah, and I don't know. It just they gave him a backstory, so he basically was now cast. I guess he messed up a lot on Apocalypse, and this was his last chance to get it back in a Darkseid's, good graces and all that.
So Darkseid didn't look good.
Darkseid looked awful. He looked like a video game character, maybe worse. And the parademons, they didn't look much better either. I mean, I think they look the same.
I think the parademons look pretty good in Justice League.
I never liked the parademons. I think they're stupid. I don't know, but I didn't like the whole story of Justice League, even the original one, like with the whole mother boxes. It's very similar in a way to Infinity War, or if you want to call it that. Like the mother boxes could be Infinity Stones, except there's only 3 of them. Like they're the MacGuffins that they're going after, and that Darkseid needs them in order to come over to Earth and conquer it and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff, again, you got to take with suspension of disbelief and just sit there, munch on your popcorn and have fun. And there's a lot of stuff what you can do it. But like I said, things don't really get going until maybe 2 hours and 40 minutes into the movie. And that's why I think Warner Brothers didn't have faith into releasing this into 2 parts, because I think people would have saw the first movie and it had been like, wasn't very good. Yeah, they really need Superman. They should have never killed him off. It was a stupid decision on Snyder's part.
They should have just brought him back sooner.
And the way they brought him back, how much sooner could they bring him back? He was brought back in the next movie, No,
I mean within the movie. If you have a 4-hour movie and it's 2 hours and 40 minutes before you bring the guy everybody wants to see back, somebody should have said, Zack, why don't we push this up a little bit and give Superman a little bit more to do?
And I think he's got less screen time in this one too.
Really?
Yeah, because like when he shows up at, when Steppenwolf is trying to attack Cyborg with the mother boxes and all that, he shows up at the very end and he kicks a lot of ass. He's pretty, they all kick ass really well because, again, he's really good with action. But I think some of the stuff that they did in Whedon's action was pretty good too. It's tough, I would probably give Whedon's version a 7, and I would give this a 7.5.
Oh, that's pretty close.
Well, the problem again, it's just I can't see myself watching a 4-hour movie again. The only way I'm going to watch this, and I did watch a little bit of it before, it's with my remote control. Just fast forward through all the stuff and get rid of all the dialogue stuff. You don't need that. It just was. It's okay. Again, I know some people are going to love it, but I know some people are going to hate it too. It's definitely no Avengers. If they were trying to accomplish something like the Avengers, they failed. I will say
this isn't the 100% redemption of Zack Snyder.
It's not at all. No, it's not. And I really don't think they should give him anything. I'm going to say it. I don't want to mention any names, but there are some people I'd follow on YouTube, and I really agree with most of their reviews. They were giving this thing really, really good reviews, and I was so excited for it, like in the middle of the week. And then the next day, I saw they had an exclusive interview with Zack Snyder, and I was like, wait a minute. They sold out because they made it look like this was the best DCEU movie ever made. No way. Nope, not at all. I want to talk about, though, the end stuff, though. Like there's an epilogue at the end. and it's cool, but I feel like he kind of threw that in there to try to convince fans to give him another shot.
For Justice League 2?
Yeah. Because what you see is the post-apocalyptic world that was in Batman v Superman, you know, like where he's got
the dream sequence, right?
Yeah, he's got the trench coat. So in this one, you basically have a new Justice League. It's Batman, it's Cyborg, it's Flash, it's Mira, it's not Darkseid, Deathstroke, and it's Joker. That's your new Justice League
in this post-apocalyptic world.
Mm-hmm.
Did they make any inkling why Batman is seeing the future?
He fell asleep again. He fell. It was in his dream. Yeah. No, they don't. They really don't say it at all. But again, it looks like what happens is they don't show it, but Lois probably dies because they say, "Oh, you have to save Lois," and Superman just flips out, kind of like the Injustice video game. I don't know if you ever played that.
Well, I read the first book.
Yeah.
Of Injustice. Well, the first trade paperback. I know the first book was like 50 issues or something. I read like the first 10 in a trade paperback. Yeah. That was a good concept. I didn't stick with it, but I get where they were going with it. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, so he kind of freaks out after Lois dies, and then Darkseid kind of takes him under his wing. He kind of comforts him. He puts his big hand on his little shoulder. And that's when you see Superman in the red and the blue. But everywhere else.
He goes to the dark side,
no,
literally.
That makes no sense. See, I would have given him like a more regal costume, like almost like, you know, like some evil emperor king or something like that. But no, they gave him the red and the blue. But again, I think and then he wakes up. Right, Bruce wakes up.
Wait, who wakes up?
Bruce. Another bad dream. You know?
Oh, this is another one of his dreams. Okay.
Yeah, it was another one of his dreams. And then all of a sudden, he kind of gets a knock on the door, and it's Martian Manhunter. And he's basically says that, I think after all this, it's about time that I help you fight. And I recently watched Man of Steel. I watched Batman v Superman. Where the hell were you, pal? Because you were in Man of Steel. You know, it's the general. You know who Martian Manhunter is?
Well, he's general now, I'm guessing, for what you just said.
Yeah, you know the general. You know, he's a African-American general that's in Man of Steel.
Is he the one that is yelling at him because he trashed a satellite?
Yeah.
That's the Martian Manhunter?
That's Martian Manhunter. But that's why it doesn't make any sense. This is, again, like Star Wars, where Snyder says it was all a plan. No, it wasn't, because he's like, why did you destroy the satellite? You know, and it's like, why didn't he help Superman out when Zod was attacking? Why didn't he help Batman and Superman when Doomsday was attacking? Instead, he launches a missile at Superman while he's in space. It's just a load of crap. It's just revisionist crap that Zack Snyder's do. I think he reads fan theories and he basically steals them and he just adds them.
Well, Marvel does it too, where, you know, the kid in Iron Man 2
was
Peter Parker with the little repulsor glove. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's true. But
or the old guy in Return of the Jedi is now, you know, that's Captain Rex. That's him. You know, come on.
Like I said, the person that had the most screen time added to it was Cyborg. So I'm sure Ray Fisher is happy. I think a lot of people.
Well, he won't be showing up too much more. So
yeah, I can't see them inviting him back after this.
No.
You know? No. I think a lot of people are going to have problems with the 4:3 aspect ratio. It just looks so weird. I'm just looking to see if I missed anything. There's no Russian family in this. I hate it.
Oh, that was annoying.
Yeah.
That was.
It's like he brought the family from Ultron over to Justice League, Whedon. Yeah, that was just dumb. But like I said, there's a lot of things to like in it. It's just way too long. This movie could have been 3 hours, and I think it would have been a much better movie. And again, it's kind of like, like when a kid makes something and it's good, and he keeps touching it and touching it and touching it because he wants to improve it, and then it's just not the same. I think he had a decent movie at one point, and he just kept adding and adding and adding, and he should have just left it be. I hope this is the end. It seems like everybody's putting Zack Snyder on a pedestal, that he's a genius for doing this. But we'll see. I'm sure Warner Brothers is going to say it was a great success, but we can't measure if it was a success or not. Anywho, I guess that's about it. All right. So you know what that means.
It's matchup time.
Yep. It's March Marvel DC Madness. So we're up to round 3. So these are basically the winners of round 1 and round 2 going at each other. And I got my bowl here.
All right.
So are you all set, Jack?
Sure.
I peeked into the bowl and I saw a name and I was like, I don't want to pick that one.
Nah, you got to pick it.
All
That's
right.
the fun. Okay, Power Girl is back.
Power Girl. I can't even see who's that. That right?
And Namor.
I have him upside down. Namor. Yeah, Power Girl and Namor. It's a toughie.
Now, if Power Girl has all the powers of the Kryptonians that we've seen,
yes.
I think Namor would put up a good fight, but I think she'd edge him out.
Well, would Namor come out of the water?
Well, that's just it. I think the intensity of heat vision would probably start to wear Namor down. So she'd have to fight him out of water. Because if he was in water, and it would just come down to physical powers, because he's even faster underwater as well. So, but still, I'd give her the edge with just because of the strength.
Yeah,
and once again, it's tough to put anybody up against the Kryptonian. Kryptonium. I'm saying it wrong. Kryptonian. There we go.
And she probably could take out Superman too. Power Girl.
Wouldn't they all like level out kind of?
Well, I was reading up on this. I was reading about Supergirl. So since she was older Supergirl, she was on Krypton longer than Kal-El. So she retained more from Krypton, like with her cells and her body structure.
Yeah, but it is the Kryptonian cells. Kryptonium. Why am I saying this? The Kryptonian cells that absorb the solar energy. So Superman's been on Earth longer than she has, Power Girl grew up on her own. She was like in another dimension or something.
Yeah, she's in another universe.
So I would say her and Superman are closer. People have said Supergirl is faster, I think, than Superman. So I think they all kind of max out at some kind of line.
I have Supergirl is stronger than Superman. She was older than Superman when she left Krypton. So if Superman is super because the gravity of Krypton was denser than on Earth, then by that same logic, Kara should be much stronger since she was physically a full-grown teenager capable of all basic physical abilities.
Okay.
Science.
I can't debate your research. It's DC.
Anyway, yeah, we're giving her the win, So that one.
So Power Girl takes out Namor.
Yeah. I hope it's not old DC. I got to look at these. All right.
Sinestro versus the Green Goblin. I would have to, even though the Green Goblin is formidable, I would give it to Sinestro because with the power ring, Sinestro could just immobilize the Green Goblin, put him in a yellow construct and squeeze. I don't think the Green Goblin would be able to go toe to toe with him.
Yeah, the only way is the Green Goblin would have to get the edge on him. He'd have to first catch him in flight, which his glider's pretty good, but
his glider's good, but it can't travel between planets.
No.
And Sinestro, like Hal Jordan, always has the glow around him. So Hal Jordan usually always has some sort of shield up. Sinestro, being evil and paranoid, I'm sure he has that thing on all the time. So the Goblin may hit him and sort of knock him off course, but not going to hurt him. And once Sinestro knows he's actually being attacked by him, I think Sinestro would, like I said, here's a construct and just start to squeeze it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Can't beat Sinestro, Gobby.
Well, and that's just it. The Goblin isn't powerful enough. Like, if it was Namor versus Sinestro, I think Namor would be able to withstand the pressure, and is much stronger than the Goblin, that he would probably put a better fight up. But the Green Goblin just doesn't have that kind of power to go against the power ring.
And I think Namor would be smarter than him, too. More cunning.
Probably.
Than Sinestro. All right, next one.
Cyborg Superman versus Green Lantern Hal Jordan.
Man, these lanterns and these super people.
That would be a good fight. I don't think they've ever gone toe-to-toe in the comics.
I don't think so.
But that would be a good fight.
Realize that Cyborg Superman is as powerful as he is. He's
extremely powerful. I mean, let's face it. He was able to pull off masquerading as Superman for a while. And I mean, and just because you might shatter him, he's still able to retain his consciousness. And, even if his arm gets broken off, that arm can still move and shoot a ray or something. Cyborg Superman is tough. Like I said, that would be a good fight. However, I would give it to Hal Jordan. I think Hal Jordan would figure out a way to immobilize, contain Cyborg Superman somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the Green Lantern. I think he would. I think it would be Hal Jordan, but I think that would be a good fight.
Yeah, that would be. I'm going to agree with you with that one too. I can't see him beating Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan's definitely up there, I think, with a lot of these people on this list. So, and again, I mean, I'd like to say I know more about Cyborg Superman. I think he was on like a shuttle mission or something like that. Hank, what's his name? Hank Henshaw or something like that. Yeah. And something happened to the crew. And I don't know. He became Cyborg Superman. He was like one of the few crew members to survive. And he got the powers of Superman, but he also, I guess, lost some of his body and was replaced with.
Well, I think he was able to build himself up to have Superman relative strength or something.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago, Joe.
Yeah, it was. But no, he's been around though.
He's been around, but I honestly don't. You remember his origin better than I do.
Yeah, I mostly remember him from. I was reading one of those crossover ones, the Fantastic Four and Superman,
mm-hmm.
and he was in that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Superman, And so was Galactus. That's when Superman became a herald of Galactus.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was a fun crossover.
That was, artwork was pretty nice too. I think, I could be wrong, but I think it was Ron Lim.
Not on that one. I think that was Stan Jurgens.
All right, maybe you're right.
The cover was awesome. Wasn't that a Hildebrand?
I'm not sure. Ron Lim was Silver Surfer, right? Ron Lim was mostly Silver Surfer.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a fun. I was going to say cartoon, comic book. All right, next one here. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. One of my favorites.
Azrael versus. It's going to be like someone super powerful. The Mandarin, yep. I like Azrael too. I love the costume. I love the storyline, but no, the Mandarin would take him out. Make short work of him.
Yeah, again, I read more up on this, and Azrael definitely does. He's a lot more powerful than I thought he was. And that costume definitely helps him. But he's going to have trouble against the 10 rings for sure.
Yeah.
Mandarin's just a little too overpowered for Azrael. Just going a little too quick, Jack. Damn you, DC. We should never let you into this competition. Is she going to take it?
Supergirl versus Supergirl wins.
Whoa, hold on, pal.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
You see who she's up against.
Okay. Nope, Surfer.
He jumped the gun a little too quickly.
I jumped the gun. I didn't think you'd pull out the Silver Surfer yet.
So last time we had Superman versus the Silver Surfer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if he can't beat her, if he can't beat Silver Surfer, I can't see Supergirl.
That would be the same type of fight.
Yeah. Going quick, my friends. Let me just see if I got anything new on Silver Surfer that I didn't know before. I think I did. I did a little research. You probably knew. I didn't know. The one thing I found out is, he's beat the Hulk several times, but he's had trouble with Thor.
Well, one reason he was able to beat the Hulk easier, because the Hulk is really like a one-trick pony. He's melee, goes into a range, starts swinging, and it's only because he's strong that he keeps going. So the Surfer can outsmart him. For example, I think in one of their meetings, like the Hulk was going into a range and the Surfer just grabbed him by a hand and flew off at high speed and like threw him into a mountain or something like that. Hulk keeps getting madder and madder, but the Surfer was able to handle him fine. And not to mention the Surfer's other powers, the energy manipulation, the speed. It's tough to take on the Surfer.
Well, that's what he did with his cosmic powers. He was able to drain the gamma radiation from the Hulk and turn him into Bruce Banner. So he's out of luck when that happens.
Yep.
But Thor beat the crap out of Silver Surfer several times.
I don't think it was one-sided as you're saying.
No, they've had draws, but apparently Thor has really beaten him several times. He's just pounded on him with Mjolnir, and Silver Surfer really couldn't do a thing. I don't know at that point if that was a weakened Silver Surfer or anything. I didn't read the comic book, but...
Well, Mjolnir has a couple of other tricks up its sleeves. Like, it doesn't just shoot lightning. There's an energy ray, a disintegration ray that can be shot out of Mjolnir. It takes a lot out of Thor himself, but it's just like how the Destroyer, how in the movie the mask would go up and would be fire. Mm-hmm. Well, in the comics, it's something similar, but it's a disintegration ray. And Mjolnir can shoot the same sort of ray as the Destroyer. I guess it's a Asgardian craftsmanship upgrade. I don't know what you would call it. But I think that disintegration ray would also stand up to the Surfer's energy blasts. I mean, and Thor has gone against Galactus as well. So I think his godliness gives him an edge in that fight. But I never remember the Surfer being handily managed by Thor. It was always a tough fight.
And last time it was Thor versus Shazam, and you went with Shazam.
Thor versus Shazam, that's right. It's tough with godly powers.
Yeah.
And like I said, and that is only because of putting the names relatively. I don't know if a DC Hercules is as strong as a Marvel Hercules.
My point is, though, I talked you into Thor.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
on the grounds that Shazam or Captain Marvel now has the mind of a teenage boy versus a warrior that has lived for millennia.
Yeah.
So that's why Thor, I think it would go to Thor. But if you had someone who lived as long as Thor in the body of Shazam, I think that would be, I think Shazam would take it, but Thor's experience helps him.
Okay. I think I know this one. I'm going to be like you with Supergirl, and you're probably going to say the same thing.
Gravitron versus
Batman. No, I mean, you made Gravitron seem
Gravitron is stuff. Did you research him?
I did, but I couldn't find much on him.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Versus Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor, genius, mastermind. Can't stop the master of gravity. I'd go Gravitron.
All I can say is I am so glad, because I don't like Lex Luthor. And last time he took out Wolverine, which really pissed me off. Yeah, you made Gravitron seem really powerful. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know who the hell he was until you mentioned him. I never heard of him. Like, when did he first come out? Was it in the 70s? Or
you know what? I will send you some screenshots.
Well, I've seen pictures of him, but
I would look at when he shows up in Thunderbolts, the old series by Kurt Busiek and Mark Bagley. You can see like what Gravitron is capable of, and his appearances there. I mean, at one point he takes all of Earth's heroes hostage, and he's got them all contained in gravity cubes.
When did he come out? Like, what decade?
He's a guy, I guess he's 80s.
Yeah.
Late 70s, early 80s.
The only thing I found
he was around, but I think in Thunderbolts is when he really showed what a threat he could be.
They said he was a gravity researcher, Franklin Hall, and he gained the ability to control gravity. You know what? I think Google kept confusing Gravitron with something that was this
Transformers or something.
No, gravity, like some form of gravity or some device to measure gravity might be called a Gravitron, because I kept getting a lot of science crap. Science crap. Who needs science crap?
Science crap.
All right, so Gravitron, he takes this one.
Gravitron takes that one.
Oh, talking about this guy.
Cyborg versus Jeff Johns. Thor. Sorry, Cyborg.
Yeah. Take the bench, Cyborg, or hit the bricks.
Back to the locker room, Cyborg. You're done.
Now, apparently, again, a lot of like in the MCU and DC, a lot of those characters are a lot more powerful in the movies than they are in the comics. And I think Cyborg might be one of them. Like, I think he's more powerful in the movies than he is in the comics. Like,
I think he's more powerful in the comics.
Is he?
Because he upgraded his tech with. I heard Taylor said one time some sort of alien technology he interfaced, and he upgraded like everything. But Thor is Thor. I don't think Cyborg is in that league.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't either. It's just, again, we mentioned Thor so much and he's so damn powerful. Like I said, he could take down the Silver Surfer. No way could Cyborg take down the Silver Surfer. Um, no, he's a cool character. I like him more on the Teen Titans. And, I mean, I enjoy Teen Titans Go. I think that's a fun show in small doses.
Well, he's one of those heroes, though. I think he's a cool hero, but I always enjoy him more when he's on a team.
Yeah, like he was
a Cyborg book on his own. I couldn't get into, but I like him and how he interacts with the other characters.
Again, I remember when the Teen Titans first came out, and I thought that was kind of it was Robin, it was Wonder Girl, Wonder Woman's sister,
Donna Troy. Raven.
Was Raven on it all the way back then?
Raven was on it from like way back.
Wow.
I believe. What's his name? Garth. Beast Boy.
Beast. Yeah.
And
then their main enemy was Deathstroke, right?
They fought Deathstroke.
I think he made his first appearance in Teen Titans.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
And they were always big with the Hive as well, who hired Deathstroke to kind of screw them over. But I mean, Teen Titans was a pretty good book back in the day.
They were cool. They definitely. I think Robin was better off going into the Teen Titans. I think I think we had enough of him in Batman. But to be, almost like the offspring of other superheroes, or younger
Kid
superheroes.
Flash too was on there.
That's right. Yeah, Kid Flash was on there.
And then
that was a pretty cool team.
Replaced Barry Allen for a while.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. All right. Sorry, Cyborg.
Sorry, Cyborg. You're going back to the locker room.
Okay. I think are you gonna do another one of those?
The Juggernaut. Okay, I'm not gonna say it.
You're not gonna jinx the Juggernaut?
I'm not gonna jinx the Juggernaut.
Oh, it's a good thing you didn't.
Dark Seat or side. Huh. You know what? I'd love the Juggernaut, but I would have to give it to the Dark Side. Only because of, as we've seen with the Omega beams, they can displace somebody through time. Like, remember when Batman got hit with the Omega beams and all of a sudden he was sent through time where he's fighting as himself all through the eras until he gets back to present day. Yeah, I'd have to give it to Dark Side.
Let me ask you, do you think Superman would beat Juggernaut?
I do not think Superman could beat him.
You think Darkseid would?
Well, the thing is, like I said, Superman has problems with magic, and Juggernaut's problems come with magic. And the first time that Thor fought the Juggernaut, Thor threw Mjolnir at him. And Mjolnir comes flying through the air. And then as it approaches Juggernaut, it starts to slow down because of the indestructible aura of the Juggernaut. It slowed down Mjolnir before it could hit him. I think that magical effect would give Juggernaut the edge against Superman. I think Superman could be throwing things at him, hitting him with heat rays or punching him or whatever. Maybe knock him down a bit, throw him around. But I don't think he's going to be able to hurt the Juggernaut. Darkseid, however, does not have that inability, that weakness against magic. So I think his full wrath would be able to come down on the Juggernaut, and it's not just strength. Those Omega beams can do some weird stuff. And I think that would be the deal breaker, that it might not destroy the Juggernaut, but it would do like Batman, catapult him somewhere in time, where, Darkseid would be like, well, I'm an immortal god, so I can't wait till we get back here in a few thousand years.
All right, you make a very good point.
So yeah. Now I could be wrong about how the Omega beams work, but I thought that's how Batman came back. Was it Final Crisis was the crossover or something where everybody thought Batman was
where
killed?
He was dead. Yeah, and like Superman was holding his body and all that.
Right.
Yeah,
and
he went back
like
to
I
the
said,
past.
I don't know how that works where he's killed, but he's catapulted back in time. I don't know how that works enough about the Omega beams, but I think that would be what sets Darkseid against Superman for how they would handle the Juggernaut. So Jugs goes down.
They did show the Omega beams once in the Zack Snyder cut, which was pretty cool. I like the way how they go. Like they're slanted.
Oh, did they bend and go around corners and stuff?
Yeah.
Well, it'll be cool to see when it comes on TBS.
When somebody like glues you to a chair and forces you to watch it.
And no one's going to force me to pay for HBO Max. Sorry.
Maybe you'll get a present one day, or Santa Claus will be good to you one year.
Well, like I said, I already have Netflix and I already have Amazon Prime, so I'm not going to sign up for a third service.
I hear. All right, so I found something interesting about this guy that I didn't know before.
Superboy Prime, okay, versus Wonder Woman.
I dropped her. All right, this is what I found out that was interesting about Superboy Prime is that he does not have a weakness to kryptonite.
I believe Taylor had said that.
I probably wasn't paying attention.
Huh?
I probably wasn't paying attention. I thought I found something cool. It's like
but no, that is interesting. The question is, why isn't he have a kryptonite weakness?
He's immune to magic too.
Powers of Superman.
He's also he's from another universe. Let's see. His immunity to the magic stems from the fact that magic doesn't exist on Earth, on his Earth Prime. So I don't know what would happen if he was on our Earth.
I just know he's pretty tough, but I did not realize he had. I didn't remember the kryptonite thing until you mentioned it, and I didn't know about the magic that he was immune to magic. So he's tough to beat.
He loses his powers when exposed to red sun, like the other Kryptonians.
Now, if he doesn't have the weakness to... Oh, wait, you know what? I kind of remember that. Because after the Sinestro War, the Guardians chained him up around a red sun, and he was always kind of like watched by at least one Guardian or something like that. And it was one of those things where he's like in the sarcophagus with a little eye slit, and he's looking out at them as, they're standing guard on him around a red sun. So I kind of remember that. But Wonder Woman put up a good fight, but Superboy Prime took on 3 different Supermen from different eras during one of the Crisis events, and he very handily beat them. So I would go with Superboy Prime, only because he's just one of those ridiculous characters.
And I know they've made Wonder Woman a lot more powerful, like in the last maybe few decades or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like she could fly now and all that stuff, and she's on par, I think, with Superman, like power-wise. Pretty close.
She's like number 2 in the DC universe, I believe.
But she's
as far as heroes go,
she still can be penetrated by arrows and bullets and stuff like that, though, right?
I don't think so. I don't think she can anymore.
Didn't Cheetah? I saw a comic book recently where Cheetah scratched her face, and she had that big scar and she aged. I forget.
Well, Cheetah also got a very significant upgrade.
Oh yeah, with her claws too.
Yeah. So I mean, if Wonder Woman's been given upgrades, Cheetah has had to have upgrades as well, since that's her, I think, #1 nemesis or something.
Yeah, but no, I agree with you. Superboy Prime, again, if he's not allergic to kryptonite or magic, and he just has the red sun to worry about, I don't know what Wonder Woman's going to do about that.
Right.
Unless there's an eclipse.
I remember it was a very gruesome fight against the 3 Supermans. I think he ripped like one of their arms off or something crazy like that.
Oh yeah,
and beat him with it, like one of those crazy things you'd see on The Boys.
Oh,
one of those weird kind of scenes. It was shockingly violent for a DC comic book.
Speaking of shockingly violent, the Snyder version of Justice League was kind of violent. There was blood. There was cursing. He used the F word several times. Batman used the F word.
Was it rated R?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh. That could be interesting.
Yeah. It's cool when Batman.
Not $15 a month interesting, but that could be interesting.
I'm telling you can get a 7-day free trial. You just sign up
and watch everything on it.
Well, you just got to watch Justice League and Harley Quinn, that animated series.
Which is awesome.
All right. Next one.
Okay. Iron Man versus?
Like 2 Marvels.
Doctor Strange. Tech versus magic.
I'm surprised you're even thinking about this.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm sure Doctor Strange could turn Iron Man's suit into lead. Some sort of transmutation spell. I don't think that Tony Stark has the resources to come up with some sort of magical defense, because he hates magic. He knows it's there. He doesn't understand it. So he hates it. So I can't see him finding a way to fine-tune his armor to stand against it. So, yeah, I'd go Doctor Strange.
No, I would too. I think that's a quick 1-round knockout.
Now, once again, though, I mean, Iron Man is much stronger. If he throws a building at Doctor Strange when he's not expecting it, that could take Doctor Strange out. But on a straight 1-on-1 fight, I think Doctor Strange would take it.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he's got magic to his advantage.
Right.
Basically, Tony, he's a billionaire. I mean, and he's got a lot of really nice gadgets and all that stuff. But
right.
He doesn't have any superpowers, and Doctor Strange is pretty damn powerful. Like last time he took on Doctor Doom. Mm-hmm. And Doctor Doom did not make it. So I'd have to give that one to Iron Man 2.
And Doc Doom has tech plus magic. But he's called the Sorcerer Supreme for a reason.
All right. Let's hope this guy makes it. I hate seeing Marvel go down so quickly.
Hulk versus...
Oh, man.
Nova?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Hulk. Sorry, Nova. Granted, he has the flight, he has the range, but I don't think he could hurt the Hulk. From a distance, I think he would have to get up close. And if he gets up close and the Hulk gets a hold of him, he's done.
So again, I was reading more about Nova because I know of him, but I'm not as nowhere near familiar as you are. So if he doesn't have his helmet on, he doesn't have powers?
Well, really, Nova has become an equivalent of the Green Lantern. The Nova helmet is his power ring.
He's okay. The power. All right. I thought you were going to say he has a ring too.
That's what it comes down to. The Green Lanterns have power rings. The Novas have their helmets, and everything in the helmet allows them to tap into the force that gives them the energy and the power.
So what I found interesting about the Hulk is that he can breathe underwater.
Hulk can breathe. I thought he just held his breath.
It says the Hulk has been seen on the ocean floor for a number of times and is able to breathe due to his body developing a gland which creates an oxygenated perfluorocarbon emulsion which fills his lungs and equalizes the pressure. He is therefore able to bleed fluid and avoid decompression and nitrogen narcosis.
Did not know that. I always thought he was at the bottom of the ocean holding his breath.
Well, again, they might have evolved him in the comics, you know.
I'll go for it.
No, but that's pretty cool. I didn't know that either, you know, and that definitely gives him advantage with underwater superheroes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll go with Hulk too. Again, I hate that.
If the Hulk gets a hold of him, he's done.
All right, let's get rid of this guy.
Reverse Flash versus the Super Skrull. We're not getting rid of Reverse Flash. He lives another day. Super Skrull is fun. He's a great villain, but couldn't stand up to Reverse Flash.
So can the Super Skrull fly like Johnny Storm?
He can.
So wouldn't he be able to avoid Reverse Flash?
Well, Flash has hit people who fly. He just finds something to ramp up and takes off into the air. So no, I think flight going against the Flash doesn't work because he's able to pick up momentum to go up, and there's no time to dodge him because he's just moving too fast.
I thought I would try.
Worth a shot.
Yeah, all right, I'll go with you for Reverse Flash. He's gonna go down though.
He's got to go down eventually. Somebody's got to get him.
Okay, here we go.
Deathstroke versus. I mean, we're getting into heavy hitters now. Count Nefaria.
That's another one. I really couldn't find much information on Count Nefaria.
Well, here's one example of Count Nefaria. He took a straight-on headshot from Wolverine, and he just got scrapes.
So what's his powers again?
He's Superman. But instead, where Superman is strong because of solar energy, Nefaria is super powerful because of ionic energy. And
he's got to be bad with a name like Nefaria.
Yeah. Oh no. He's like one of those old Transylvanian royalty types. He's a bad guy, but like I said, Wolverine, he took the full-on hit from Wolverine's claws and just had 3 scratches. It pissed him off because he's got scars from them now, but anybody else would have had their head completely opened up.
Yeah, he sounds.
And Deathstroke couldn't stand it. I mean, Nefaria has taken hits from Thor's hammer. He's taken on the entire Avengers team by himself. Yeah, he's tough.
What would have been really good would be Deathstroke versus Taskmaster.
That would be good. That would be a good fight.
One thing I learned about Deathstroke.
Or Deathstroke versus Azrael.
You think so?
Well, as you said, Azrael is a little bit enhanced. Deathstroke is enhanced, but he's not. Deathstroke is enhanced enough to give him the edge over most human fighters and most street level fighter type, hero types. Azrael has that little bump too, so that could be a good fight. But Deathstroke versus the Taskmaster, I think that would be good, because it would come down to, even though Deathstroke is enhanced, the Taskmaster could fight like Captain America and counter the moves. So I think that, and they both like have no problems killing people, and I think that would be a good fight.
So once a Taskmaster, he copies the moves, he retains them into his memory.
He can pull up those memories and reuse those powers anytime.
Oh, it's pretty cool.
You know, and like he does, he watches videotapes. Like he'll watch a videotape of Bruce Lee, and he can fight just as well as Bruce Lee. Watches Captain America, can fight like Captain America. So he can retain enough where if he's fighting Captain America, he can come up with a way to counter that using the experience of Bruce Lee, Iron Fist, Shang-Chi. So that's what makes him a tough dude to fight.
You know, it was interesting. Again, I looked up a little bit on Deathstroke. I never realized this. Well, he's got one eye, but what is that called? Like when you have that, you know, your vision where you can perceive stuff that's on the sides. Peripheral vision. I couldn't remember. He lacks that because of his one eye. That's like kind of like a weakness.
Yeah, he's over to the side that's blacked out.
Yeah.
You know. So he's got to fight like this a lot, I think. But you
He's
see,
cool.
that could be why Dick Grayson and Batman can give him a tough time, because I'm sure they're smart enough to figure out how to duck into his blind spot or hit from the blind spot. But I mean, he's handed Batman his butt numerous times, so. Which I don't understand how Dick Grayson gives Deathstroke such a hard time when he's just manhandled Batman. Well, I don't know.
Maybe Batman had a bad day every time.
No, Batman even picked a fight.
So Joe Magnola, whatever his name is, he was in this again as Deathstroke. I don't know if you remember, like they had like an.
Well, you just said he's in the new Justice League.
Yeah, but do you remember when he met Lex Luthor on the boat in Justice League? It was like an after scenes credit.
Vaguely.
Yeah, anyway, so what Lex Luthor tells Deathstroke is he tells him that Bruce Wayne is Batman, which I thought was pretty cool too. I don't think they had that in the original Justice League.
Don't know.
No. All right, we're getting close, Jack. Almost to the end.
Vision versus Captain Marvel.
I don't like seeing these powerful Marvel superheroes go at each other because DC is dominating.
They cut down the list for the DC guys.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna go Captain Marvel.
At the point she is now, I would say Captain Marvel as well. When she was Miss Marvel, she seemed to be, I don't know, I kind of liked her more as Miss Marvel. Once she became Captain Marvel, that power creep just kind of kept going up and up and up. And then when she got to the movie, she was just crazy powerful. So,
well, that's the situation where she's overpowered in the movies more than she is in the comic books.
But that's it. Now the comic books have started following.
Oh, they have.
Yeah. So I'd go with Captain Marvel, only because, like I said, she's increasingly getting stronger and stronger, it seems. And like I said, it's the power creep because all of a sudden she'll do something in a comic, and then it's like, okay, well, the precedent is set, so the next team has to outdo it. So they outdo it. Now that's the precedent, and it just sort of keeps creeping up the longer the character is around. Sort of like in the Avenger movies where Captain America is able to kick a Jeep and it goes sliding like 20 feet into a bunch of people. Captain America can't do that in the comics, but in the movies, that's the point where the power creep has moved up where, oh yeah, no, he's not the peak human condition anymore. He's meta-human powerful. So, but yeah, I'd say Captain Marvel.
I think Thor is stronger in the comics. I'm not Thor. Hulk. Hulk is stronger in the comics than he is.
Well, Hulk is the strongest one there is.
No, I'm saying in the comics than he is in the MCU. Well, he's got.
Oh yeah, in the
he's
comics,
Professor Hulk.
In the comics, he's the madder he gets, the stronger he gets. That's more. I would think Professor Hulk is probably weaker than the Hulk we saw in Avengers and Ultron because the anger management issues have kind of been resolved.
Yeah, but I was thinking because I'd seen Avengers recently, like when we saw Hulk, when he came back, when Bruce Banner comes back and he says, "That's it, I'm always angry," and then he punches that I don't know,
space worm thing,
that giant space worm. That's pretty powerful. You would see that in the comics, But then later on, he's on the roof and he's being shot at by a bunch of Chitauri, and he's going down and he's bleeding green and all that stuff. I was kind of surprised at that, to see him have a difficult time with them.
I don't remember him bleeding. I remember him, he's under bleeding. Fire and it's getting all smoky and stuff and he can't see. But but I think he's more powerful there than he was in Professor Hulk.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely. I think even like when they show in Endgame when he goes back in time, and they're at that point when the Chitauri are attacking New York. You see like the aggressive Hulk, and then he goes by like a taxi cab and
knocks over a meter.
Yeah, that Hulk would beat the crap out of Professor Hulk.
Yeah.
All right. The last two, Jack.
All right, here we go.
You're going to jinx this guy?
Who's that? Ultron. Okay, Ultron versus Lobo.
Lobo was the last time. That's so weird.
Really? It was?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Lobo's not one of those characters I have a good handle on. I know he fights Superman.
Yeah.
Like I said, because of the adamantium, I think Ultron would give Superman some problems as well. I would, you know what? I'm going to go Ultron. Just because I don't know enough about Lobo. I know he's supposed to be strong, but I don't know the extent of it. And I know what Ultron can do, so
yeah, Ultron very well. Much more.
Well, I know him from the comics.
Yeah.
And that's my problem with Age of Ultron. Ultron wasn't scary enough because he's terrifying in the comics. He's pretty darn scary. I know. I'm trying. I want to say something else, but yeah, he's very scary in the comics, and I know what he can do. So I'm going with him versus the main dude or whatever. Lobo.
Main man. He's the main man.
The main man. The main man.
So Lobo, he's got superhuman strength. I guess kind of similar to Superman, except he's from a different planet. He's got durability. I don't know if he's got weaknesses like kryptonite or anything like that. He's invulnerable.
Well, he doesn't fly. That's why he has his motorcycle.
His motorcycle. I kind of wonder if he just likes riding that motorcycle.
Who knows? Maybe. I like I said, I don't know enough about the character.
He's immortal. He's got super speed. He's got regenerative powers like Wolverine.
I didn't know he had super speed. I thought he was just strong.
He doesn't need food, water, air, or sleep, and he can survive in the vacuum of space. Yeah.
I still think Ultron would disintegrate him.
But he's immortal and he can heal.
You can still be disintegrated. Come on, we read Gulliver's Travels. Remember, he goes to the Gulliver goes to the city, and the people have immortality, but not eternal youth. So eventually, they're all just these decrepit, shriveled things still alive, wishing they could die. You know, so Ultron is a sentient pile of dust.
Ultron is? He's a sentient...
Not Ultron. Lobo is.
Oh, Lobo. But he's not going to be that old at that point when he's fighting Ultron.
No, I'm saying you said immortality. If Ultron disintegrates him and he's a pile of dust, he's going to stay a pile of dust, but only with all of all of Lobo's memories, personality, craziness. I don't know.
I think it's pretty damn close for me. I think this is the closest one that we've had so far.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because Lobo, he's almost like Superman, and he basically, I know, like when he's fought Superman, I think at some point he just kind of like gets tired of it, and he goes and drinks or whatever, but he's pretty hard to beat, I would say.
Oh, I know he'd be hard to beat. I just don't know the limits of what he could take.
I don't know if he can, get into vibranium, that shell and all that stuff, which you say is
adamantium.
Ultron.
It's different from vibranium.
Oh, is it? So he's, well, in the movies, it was vibranium because they didn't have access.
Yeah, because adamantium doesn't exist in the MCU.
So adamantium is more thicker, or
adamantium has to be put into a liquid form by subatomically breaking it down. Once it hardens, it's indestructible. But adamantium, we were talking about Age of Ultron, but I was thinking of the comic series. Adamantium is supposed to be super rare, because it's such an indestructible element. And in the comic book version of Age of Ultron, through all sorts of time travel shenanigans, a full Wolverine skeleton, an additional full Wolverine skeleton, is floating around in the MCU. Because an alternate version of Wolverine came back into the 616, and
the MCU. The MCU is the movies.
In the comics, came back and was killed by
Magneto,
the 616 Wolverine. So here it is. There's this whole other skeleton, adamantium skeleton, sitting in a cave somewhere in the MCU. I'm surprised that's a plot point that wasn't brought up somewhere along the line.
Well, I remember that time when it was years ago where Magneto, he died. Like, wasn't he like encased by Magneto or something like that?
I forget. That's how the death of Wolverine happened.
Yeah,
he was just encased in an adamantium shell and suffocated, died. So yeah, that's how Wolverine was dead for a while. I never really got how he came back.
No, I thought that's what you were talking about. That second Wolverine skeleton was basically that one. But
no, I think Wolverine was encased in his own adamantium. That's how he died for a year or so.
All right, you know what, Jack?
We've gone completely off topic. I still say Ultron.
It's close, very close for me. I'm gonna go Ultron, basically because it's way too much DC in here. We need some Marvel guys in here, but pretty damn close for me. But you know what, Jack? That's it.
All right.
So
we've got our last 16, right?
Yeah. So next week we'll be doing the 16, the Sweet 16.
Oh boy, there we go.
All right. So let's wrap this one up, Jack. So can you tell everyone where they can find you?
You can always send me an email and I will retrieve it from whatever weird Outlook folder it goes to at jackm@wdwnt.com.
And if you want, you can email me at joe@wdwnt.com or send me a friend request on Facebook. Also, if you like our show and enjoy other WDWNT podcasts and would like to become a Patreon supporter, please visit WDWNT's Patreon page at www.patreon.com/WDWNT.
And we'll send you an exclusive collector's edition of the Oscar-nominated movie Angry Birds 2. You won't find that anywhere.
No way that was Oscar nominated.
Except from like a 7-Eleven from several years ago. So
what universe? Fast, what universe was that movie nominated for an Oscar? All right,
I don't know.
Let's just finish.
Sounds better.
And check out.
Do you think anybody really wants an Angry Bird cup?
No. And check out Walt Disney World News Today as well as Universal Parks News Today for all your Disney and Universal news. Also, please visit the Carousel of Products, where there's a ton of fun WDWNT merchandise on sale. And finally, please subscribe to WDW Entertainment channel on YouTube, where you can find Nerd Alert and other WDWNT original programming available there.
But just watch our show multiple times. We need to count.
Yeah, we need the counts. We got to get up to, well, we're finding our place. We keep switching the nights that we're going on, but I think hopefully we'll stick for Monday at 10 o'clock. That sounds good. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, with that, this will be the end of WDWNT Nerd Alert Season 7, Episode 9. So until next time, see ya.
Good night, all, and be good to each other.